Welcome to the new video on Frankenstein's creature, a post-structuralist analysis of binary oppositions and alternative centers. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley was born in London in August 1797. She was the only daughter of the philosopher William Godwin and his wife Mary Wollstonecraft, the radical feminist writer. Tragically, her mother died almost immediately, and Mary was brought up by her father and his second wife. Finding herself alone and not being taken care of, Mary spent much of her childhood reading, writing stories, and daydreaming. She later said that her favorite pastime was the formation of castles in the air, and it was one such waking dream that led to her most famous creation. In 1814, she met Percy Shelley, and they eloped. Yet he was a married man. It was only in 1816, when his wife died, that they got married. Frankenstein is based upon a half-waking nightmare she had in the summer of 1816. She had been staying with her husband and Lord Byron on the shore of Lake Geneva, when at Byron's suggestion they were all challenged to make up a ghost story. Her husband encouraged Mary to expand upon her story, and Frankenstein was first published in early 1818.
Hello my friends, how are you? It's been quite a long time, has it? Remember the poll I posted quite a while ago in which you were choosing monsters from the 19th century? Right, Dracula got first place, and that was my first video, and this is the second for the creature. What can I say about the creature? Made up by Mary Shelley in the early 19th century, it is one of the main tenets of the Gothic creatures and monsters ever. She based her writing on a dream. She had been together with friends and they had been talking about scientists and how they treated human beings. Imagine this was the 19th century. What can we say nowadays? And she went to sleep and she had a dream. About all this, she wrote on her book afterwards. So she belonged in a way, although not per se, to the Romantic movement. All of her friends were romantics, and the Romantic movement has to do, or had to do, in Britain at that time, with going against the status quo of neoclassicism. Symmetry and order were not for the Romantics. They preferred some sort of disorder and altered states of mind, madness, extreme emotions, and labyrinths, entrapment, and of course the idea of the sublime. The sublime is a notion which applies still today, particularly to nature. Nature produces awe in all of us, that is to say, a mixture of surprise and amazement with fear, because she can either nurture you or destroy you in a few seconds. So what we are going to do today is look at this character, at the creature, through the lens of post-structuralism, that is to say, a number of binary oppositions. I'm not going to tackle them all because it would be a lifelong experience and reading, but it's going to be just a number of them in order to explore this character in depth. Some of them include scientific ethics, parental responsibility, and the gaze. So, I hope you enjoy it. Now to it.
Our first binary opposition implies having a name versus being nameless. The etymology of the word name sets its origins in Old English nama or noma. Names are very important, as we shall see. The word name is used to identify a person or thing. Now, as for the creature's name, there is great confusion. Many people call him Frankenstein. The truth of the matter is, he was never given a name by his creator. This left a huge gap in the creature's life. Have you ever thought what it would be like to be nameless? To understand that not a soul in the world ever cared about you enough to name you? The creature was only addressed in negative ways which people connected only to his physical appearance. Wretch, monster, fiend, demon are some of the names he was given. We all know there is a possibility in this day and age to choose or change your name at will if you don't feel identified with the one you have been given. Some artists use pen or artistic names, and some religious beliefs allow followers to adopt Kabbalistic new names as protection against evil. Now, in some way, and arbitrary though names may be, they seem to have some influence on the person using them. Through the open gap left by Victor, and because of his experiences and readings, the creature found himself more akin to Milton's Satan, to the right, than to Adam, to the left. When he meets Victor in Mont Blanc, he tells him, "Like Adam, I was apparently united by no link to any other being in existence, but his state was far different from mine in every other aspect. He had come forth from the hands of God, a perfect creature, happy and prosperous, guarded by the special care of his Creator. He was allowed to converse with and acquire knowledge from beings of a superior nature. But I was wretched, helpless and alone. Many times I considered Satan as the fitter emblem of my condition, for often like him, when I viewed the bliss of my protectors, the bitter gall of envy rose within me." Let's pay attention now to how natural the creature's birth was. The creature was brought back to life in a laboratory while Victor Frankenstein was a student at Ingolstadt. Made as a composite of dead bodies, he had no childhood memories but a nasty awakening from the abyss of death. His creator rejected him. He had created an entity thinking that a new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. The problem was that when he woke up from his death, he didn't seem to be part of that excellent nature. Victor saw him and was horrified. Beautiful! Great God! His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His hair was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of pearly whiteness, but these luxuriances only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes, that seemed almost of the same color as the dun-white sockets in which they were set, his shriveled complexion and straight black lips. So, Victor's best option was to abandon this monster to its own devices. This is the first time Victor thinks of the creature as such. Did he ever wonder what his abilities and disabilities were? Whose responsibility was it to find out? Victor tries to leave all of his deeds behind, but there are a number of deaths in his family, and disgrace seems to haunt him. Victor blames the creature for this. They agree to meet near Mont Blanc, where the wonders of nature are larger than life, sublime as the creature itself. We know he can move at superhuman speed, and his stature seems to exceed that of man. We know this is so because Victor was trying to create a new breed of beings which would excel the rest of humanity in every aspect. But nature has its mysterious ways, and even though Victor raped nature at will, the result was not what he had imagined. Having been created in a lab without the intervention of a female, the creature had never been in touch with a caretaker. It is well known nowadays that when a child is born, it needs someone to take care of it. When the look of the caretaker and the newly born align, oxytocin is segregated by both participants. Oxytocin is called the hormone of belonging. There was no such thing for the creature but rejection, insults, and violence. So, his kind nature turns into rage. We see this when he tries to help the cottagers, and gosh, the result was terrible. His appearance turns out to be unbearable for those who lay eyes on him. Once again, he is denied the chance of a kind gaze. Therefore, whatever noble nature he had in him was torn to pieces. Solve et coagula is one of the main tenets of alchemy. To dissolve and coagulate refers to the operations necessary to transmute base matter into gold. This was what Victor was trying to do when turning dead flesh or base matter into a superhuman or gold. He had been reading the most prominent alchemists of all times, but he was not paying attention. His ego was so prevalent in his mind that every single step he took had one objective: to achieve fame and glory. He started off from a place of pain when his mother died, but he was never able to search for nobler purposes. He was unable to get in touch with his self, the Jungian self. His shadow commanded all of his moves, and his addiction to work and his ambition blinded him from what he was really creating. He couldn't transmute his own feelings and impulses into a higher vision. His solve et coagula was only superficial, egotistic. Hence, it failed.
So, with all this being said, the first thing I'm going to comment on is how astonishing and amazing is it to have some written piece that old which came from someone's unconscious. And I think this is why Jung says that we should all resort to our unconscious, find solace and to find teachings, because the unconscious is a great teacher. So paying attention to dreams, writing them down would be of great help in many occasions. The second thing is, if you have ever been through such a situation, verbal abuse or physical abuse, I'm going to say that I'm really sorry and that there's great help waiting for you. There are great professionals, mental health professionals who can help you deal with your pain, but my caring gaze is with you right now. So if you liked this video, you might consider subscribing to the channel and giving me a like, and we're going to meet again soon. Bye-bye.